Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys are enjoying midweek hump day. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow is going to be Thursday. And what do we get today? Well, Bitcoin actually squeaked out a win. We got in the green on it. Miners were a little bit more mixed today, however. Fed obviously spoke today, Powell, at a luncheon someplace like that in Chicago. The comments that he made kind of spooked the markets a little bit. Right, all the markets were down more or less, but Bitcoin still was up. We do have IREN getting to 40 exahash. We will do a correction on FASB impact on HODL that I did yesterday. I had someone nice enough to point out my mistake, so we're going to talk about that. And then we got other news stories as well. Ardyne, Series C funding there. Mara is invested in Ardyne. They're getting to like HPC AI things as well, kind of interesting there. We'll talk about that. We'll get into Q&A. We'll call it a day. So that's all I got for you guys today. As always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for Tim only. Please do your own research. And as always, I tell you guys if any corrections will be obviously posted here and on other places as well. So I'll post that later on tonight. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Anthony and Bryce at McNally Money love it when you guys hit the like button. All right, let's get into what we got here as far as markets are concerned right now with Bitcoin and everything else. We got BTC up a little bit here today. It was up higher, but it came down a little bit after Powell spoke. But we were up today 0.48%. We finished out at 84,028 and some change. And we are up a little bit here now on the new day as well. We're up 0.28%. We're at 84,262 right now. Ethereum and Doge were both up today. I believe Ethereum was actually in the red here. Sorry. My mistake there. The one that was up today was gold. If we look at gold here really quick, gold just continues to get to new all-time highs. It was up 3.42% on the news. So we'll get into obviously what Powell said here in a second. U.S. 10-year notes and U.S. 30-year notes are going up again. Not a good look there, at least right now. We'll see how that plays out. But Bitfarms was up quite nicely, actually, 4.43%. I think it did the best out of all the miners today. Bitdeer was up also 2.5%. Cypher was up just 0.22. Cleanspark was flat after being up a little bit. What else do we have here? CORZ was down 3.8. Hive was up 1.39%. HUT was down 3%. IREN was up just a little bit, 0.37. Mar was down 2%. Riot was down 2.9. And Wolf was up just a little bit here, 0.44. MicroStrategy was also up a little bit here, 0.3% on the day. Galaxy was up a little bit as well. Who else do we have on here? Small miners were down for the most part except for Digihost. Digihost was up another 13% today following its, I thought it was up yesterday. DMG was up actually. One of the two. None of them were up actually. I thought one of those guys were up. ETFs are still down. So it is what it is on it, right? Whenever Powell speaks, markets kind of get freaked out a little bit at that point. One other thing to note here is the Bitcoin network hash rate on the 30-day average here. If you look at it over the last year, we've started like a nice, well, I wouldn't say it's nice, an unfortunate rally in network hash rate. We started out, kind of bottomed out here a little bit right around March 18th, right around 793 exahash. And here within just basically a month's time, we have gone all the way up to 863. So that's an improvement of about 70 exahash being added more or less in that time. So that's definitely a sizable increase here. Even though price is kind of flat with Bitcoin and everything else, hash rate's going up, meaning that also the cost or the, what is this? Hash price, right? Hash price has been coming down as well. This is on the 1 month average here right now. It is right now at approximately $44. So it's not that bad. It was lower here. But right, April 9th, we were at 39. So that's pretty bad. We wanted to go up. We need Bitcoin to go up as well because, well, the miners are going to need it. Okay, let's get into the news stories that we do have here. Bitcoin still for April is up 1.79%. So that's actually pretty good there. The first story we're going to talk about here is Ardyne. So Ardyne raises $153 million, debuts business group for AI data centers. This is kind of interesting. But here's what we have. Ardyne, a Silicon Valley-based startup that specializes in equipment for AI data centers and Bitcoin mining, has announced a raise of $153 million in a Series C funding round. The new capital will go to increasing the company's product suite of infrastructure for AI and blockchain technology. If you guys recall, Mara is invested in them. They have about maybe $35-50 million invested in them already. They were one of the first ones to kind of lead that funding raises there. And Mara has been buying the ASICs from them here. We don't know exactly how much. They don't provide that information, but they've been buying them from them. They're US based. I believe they also manufacture the ASICs in the United States, which is really good. So the interesting on the AI side of things here is along with funding round at announced the launch of its RL-Links AI, its new business group dedicated to networking solutions targeting data centers, energy, and cooling costs. So that's kind of interesting that they're going after that as well. But maybe it's the right move to go. Nonetheless, having a US-based company here that does ASIC mining machines is a good thing, right? And their machines are pretty close to what we see from, Bitdeer, as well as a little bit probably below what Bitmain provides. But they're close. They're really, really close on that, just depending on, I guess, the price of what you're paying for there on that one. Okay, other news story that we have here, Bitcoin at risk of dropping to 75,000 if BTC doesn't hold 83,000 support, chart analysis shows. So we will see if that does work out. Here's a chart. I don't know if I can maybe zoom this in, maybe not, probably not. But you got the 50 and the 100-hour SMAs about to cross bearish here on it. So that we might be falling. We'll see if that holds true or not. I don't know, but Bitcoin's recovery rally has stalled, which we have seen right around at 86,000 mark, acting as a resistance zone. Key momentum indicators suggest a potential bearish shift at the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages are poised for a bearish crossover, and move below 83,000 could trigger a sell-off, while a close above 86,000 is needed to continue the rally here. And I would agree with that. If we go below 83,000, I think we're going probably a little bit lower. How much lower? Probably not that much lower, but maybe sub 80,000 for a little bit, and then bouncing back up here. We do have quite a bit of support. Right around, let's go back to the chart here on Bitcoin. I can show you guys some of the support that we have there on it. We do have obviously some pretty strong support here, right around 78,000 or so. It seems like right now we've been bouncing off of that. We fell below it here, but we bounced and stopped here at least. So, and then we have some strong support here around 82,000 as well. We can see quite a bit of candles hitting that mark there. 82.5 actually. So as long as we can hold that, we'll be all right. But right now we're still battling with the 50-day simple moving average on it here, which is the red line here going this way. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. And then there we go. Why did well, it says here Bitcoin rally short-circuited as Fed Chair Powell raises stagflation fears, right? Here's a quote from him. We may find ourselves in a challenging scenario in which our dual mandate goals are in tension, said Powell, because of the effect of the Trump tariffs. A lot of unknowns there. They're going to keep an eye on it, see what happens. And that's kind of really what spooked the market here today, was his comments that him sounding more hawkish, and the possibility that we may not get a rate cut in May here. We'll see what the data comes in at, everything else, but that's only about a month away. And that's kind of what freaked everybody else out. Right, so very hawkish, said one analyst, adding that a May rate cut appears off the table, short of some drastic change in the market or economic situation, and I kind of agree with that. Based on what we're just seeing here, everything else looks pretty good. Inflation's coming down more or less. At least right now, we'll have to wait and see what the impacts of the tariffs are. Jobs are still good, so it's hard. It's hard to lower things if things continue the way that they are. But we'll see on that one. All right, next here we got IREN really quick. IREN capacity increased to 40 exahash, expansion to 50 exahash, still on track for the first half. So they got basically 2.5 months left to get an additional 10 exahash installed. I don't see that as being a problem for them. But that is obviously going to be good for them going forward. So they increased 3 exahash here in the last probably a couple of days. I did update the chart here for them, or at least my data for them. We'll take a look at this. But they've been one of the best as far as getting things installed, energizing more megawatts, getting things plugged in, getting ASICs installed as well. I don't still know exactly how many they have machines already on the United States side of the border, and how much is still left being shipped in. Hopefully most of the stuff is already in here. That way they don't have to worry about the tariffs there and possibly any delays on it. But based on what they're saying here, it seems like they're still on track to reach the 50 exahash, which is great. Going over here really quick, we'll take a look at IREN. Where is it at? There it is. Okay. So IREN, I did install these machines down here for them for the month of April, and mining about 15 days or so. If they got to 40 exahash already, I'm guessing 15 days is going to be what they're going to be operating for. And that adds about another $4 million of revenue for them. So we're looking to be about 48, maybe 49, depending on where the transaction fees come in at for them, how much they benefit from that. So we're guessing maybe 49 million, something like that. So that's a nice increase from the 45 million that they had here. That's going to do well for them. And then going forward, it's going to be as long as Bitcoin stays where it's at, network hash rate and everything else like that. For May, we're looking at about 52 million. So that's going to benefit them there. And then if they install more machines in May, that's going to also help them out, and so forth and so on going into June as well. By that time, they should have all 50 exahash installed here. So that's looking really good here. All right. That's all I got for news stories as far as what's happening here with the miners and anything else in the markets. Really just kind of wanted to go over it quite quickly here. And then let's talk about the FASB here. So I made a mistake. I had someone kind enough to point this out to me last night after the show. Greatly appreciate their input there. And here's what I had before. Before I had it where we were just looking at basically the HODL start, HODL end, and then we were doing the calculation as far as what the Bitcoin price was at that end of Q4 and where it ended up in Q1. And we just did a calculation based on that. The thing that was pointed out to me is whatever they have mined in the last 3 months, that needs to be accounted for as well based on what they have mined here. So created a whole new table here more or less for this. And we're looking to see if the companies have increased their HODL, right, during the month of January, February, and March. Did they sell anything, or did they sell more than they actually mined? If they did, that's kind of going to be a little bit tougher there. So I'm putting basically a 0 value for that if they sold more than they actually mined. And we have one like Cypher. Cypher's been selling quite a bit here in January and February as well. And then in March, they actually had a little bit of a bump. They held 2 Bitcoins there. So we're calculating that as best we can here on it for all these guys as well. Hive was in the same situation as well here in January. February they sold, and they also sold in March here, so they're getting basically 0 valuation on those. And their HODL actually decreased. Same with Cyphers over the 3 months here from where they started at. So we got 2 tables at the end here. Total FASB impact, which includes the monthly FASB impact on these. Right, so we're calculating for all these guys here what they lost in value based on what the average price of Bitcoin was in January, February, and March. And then we're adding that all up here. We have the totals here. And then we have the HODL FASB, which is the revaluation of what they had prior at the end of Q4, and adding that to what the revaluation was on the new coins that they got in here, adding that all together. And then we have the total here. And for the companies that sold more than they added to HODL, we have this table over here, which really should only include Cypher and Hive as far as what those numbers could be. I'm still not sure how that's going to work out, so we'll figure that out later on it. And so here's what we got. Based on that, we know core IREN doesn't have anything. So that brings Bitfarms to a possibility of having about a negative 15 million impact on the FSB, but they don't really do FSB accounting anyways. They're in Canada. Next one is Bitdeer here. Bitdeer also doesn't do the FSB accounting, I don't believe, so they're on the hook for 13 million if they did that. Next is going to be here Cypher. Cypher is going to be on the hook for about 14.6 million to 11.2, depending again, like I said, based on them selling stuff here. So somewhere in between there, between 14.6 and 11.2 is where I'm kind of estimating where they're going to be at. Hive is going to be on the hook between 30 million and 23, almost 24 million there. Then we got Hut 8 being on the hook for 111 million, Cleanspark 128 million, Riot 209 million, and Marathon 514 million roughly, give or take a little bit here for all these guys here. Right, and then the EPS impact and how that actually plays out here is going to be somewhere core 0 impact, IREN 0 impact, Bitfarms maybe a negative 1 penny, Bitdeer maybe 4 cents, Cypher 0, Hive looks like it's going to be 0 as well. That's probably should change that. Where do I have that exact match? I'm looking at where am I looking at that? 17. Oh, that's from the chart below, I think. So that's going to be off. That's going to be, I mean, that's going to be a couple pennies off on them for them. Hut 8 only a penny off. FSBA impact, that should be higher. Where am I getting that from? Hold on. Probably should have updated this too. I'm getting that from up here, 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh, monthly. Okay, so I need to change that to 18. That's my mistake there. 18. There we go. That works better. Do that for all these guys here. All right, that's it. All right, now we're good. So, sorry, Bitfarms is going to be negative 3 cents, Bitdeer negative 8 cents, Cypher negative 4 cents, Hive negative 20 cents, Hut 8 $1.20, Cleanspark 46 cents, Riot 60 cents, and Marathon $1.49 impact roughly on the EPS for them based on this. So, apologies for the mistake here, right? But whenever we learn something new, better data, I'll always provide it to you guys, and we'll make the corrections as always, so you guys are aware of it. But here's the old data. We can basically delete this now. I'm not going to provide this to you guys anymore going forward. We'll use this data now going forward, and we'll see how close we get to what the actual impact was for them, right? Trying to get as close as possible. We're going to be off a little bit depending on what they used for the average Bitcoin price or when they sold and things like that. It's definitely going to impact it a little bit here. But at least it gives us a ballpark of where they should be. I'm guessing probably within 5 to 10%. Okay? And that's it. Let's get into Q&A. I know a lot of you guys are not happy. You guys are down in the red on the miners, and the miners are still, bleeding, unfortunately, along with Bitcoin here kind of going flat. So let's get into that. Let's get into Q&A. I'll get this spreadsheets up to the Patreon members here tonight after the show. And everybody else, if you guys want access to that, link for Patreon membership is down in the comments or down in the description of the video. And we also have a private Discord server there as well. All right, let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have as far as questions and anything else. As always, if you preface the question with a question mark or a Q, greatly appreciate it. I'm going to work my way up and we'll work our way down. Right, let's see what we got here. All right. Let's see. Hi, Seb. How many IREN shares do you hold? Gosh, I think it's, what is it, like 5,000 shares? Let me look it up really quick. I don't know exactly. I know how much money I put into it. I just don't know how many shares I got. Where's my sheet? Really quick. It is loading. Come on. All right. Bear with me, guys. For whatever reason, Google's kind of slow here. It always is. Does Google Drive for you guys, if you guys use that, is that slow for you guys? It's always slow to load. Let's see, let me go to activity, maybe suggested. Okay, well, while that's loading, we'll get into another question, but once that loads, oh, here it goes. Finally loaded up. And now it's loading the sheet here, taking sweet time as well. Let's go into the next question here, and we'll come back to this one. Heinze asks, with my imminent death from these miners, should I be buried or cremated? Hopefully you're joking there, buddy. But go with whatever is the least expensive route, I guess. All right. Do you think Bitfarms should adopt the same model as IREN and start selling all, if not most, of the BTC they mine? Not necessarily. I mean, has it really benefited IREN here recently? Not much, not really, right? All right, so here we go. Shares in IREN, I have 7,448 at an average price of $8.01. So I'm down 31% on that one right now as it is. If I had the cash, I'd be buying in a heck of a lot more right now, but I just spent a boatload to pay Uncle Sam. Getting back to Bitfarms, I think the strategy of selling and HODLing is a good one. I like Cleanspark's strategy. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to do it. You can sell everything, you can HODL everything, or you can do a mixture of both. I think there's some benefit to doing a mixture of both. Selling everything also has its benefits, as you're not diluting shareholders as much to do so, because you're just continually aware of the price of Bitcoin is. You're funding yourself, operations growth, and things like that. But I still would like companies to have at least some HODL on there. But it is what it is. All right. All right. Mike's Life and Fitness asks, at what time will you say the bull run isn't happening? For example, if we don't move by September, will you consider selling? We can't rely on extended bull run and hold through a bear market prices. No, you're right. Yeah, I'll probably, it might be right around September, right? If we're not starting to rally or something like that. Or, I mean, even in September might be a little too early. I think by November, December at that point, Bitcoin's still at 84,000 or somewhere around here. We're still below 100,000. At that point, yeah, we might be in just a sideways action here. But I'm guessing and thinking that we might rally in May, based on the M2 supply. If you follow that, that has a pretty good correlation between Bitcoin and the M2 supply if you offset it up by 100 and some odd days. So we'll see if that follows it again. If that repeats, at least historically, here recently it has been following. So we'll see, right? So that might be a good tell there, how we act. And by that time, maybe the tariffs thing is a little bit more figured out. That might be a good thing that kind of bounces us back up. Hi, Seb. I know you won't be covering Congo, but do you believe Congo to be a legitimate operation? Do you see any red flags when you initially looked into them? The only initial red flags that I had with them was they're Chinese-based. That was the only red flag that I saw there. The other thing that I'm not a big fan of is companies that are into Bitcoin mining, but they don't have any infrastructure. They host everything with somebody else. I'm not a big fan of that. That's going to be higher cost. The other thing is them, they're getting these older machines from Bitmain, which are like the 100 to 140 terahash machines, not the latest generation. That's a little bit concerning for me as well, because they're going to have to eventually, swap those things out, especially as we're seeing network hash rate go up here. Their side of the revenue is going to be decreasing here. Let me see if I can pull that up. We can maybe take a look at what that actually means for them as far as revenue is concerned. They're still positive on revenue, but depending where they're paying for it. But let me see if I can pull that spreadsheet up, and maybe we'll do a quick comparison there. Where is it at? Open. I want to see. Let's just go to open. Hold on. Bear with me while I pull this up. Mining calculator. I think this is it. This might be it. Let's take a look. All right. Miner. Okay. Yep. So here we go. Let's take a look at this sheet here. This one. This is the one I want. Okay. So they have the miners between 100 terahash and 140 terahash, somewhere around there, based on just the price that they paid for those machines, right? So you can see here I probably need to increase this. Where are we at? We're about 875, 850, somewhere around there. Okay. So these 100 terahash machines are making 94 cents if you're at 4.5 cents on electricity, right? I have a hard time believing that they are paying that. I'm guessing more like 6 cents, somewhere around there maybe. I mean, we've seen it with like Mara, right, being one of the biggest ones there. They hosted for a long time as well, and they were paying right around like 6.5 cents. So maybe let's just give them benefit of the doubt. Let's say that they're at 6 cents for hosting, all things included. So if we do that, well, geez, now those machines are probably not making a dime right now. Bitcoin's actually at 85,000. Actually, it's down a little bit here. That's not 80. We could probably need to update that to go by 2,500. But you can see that those machines would not be profitable right now based on 6 cents. And then going to 140 terahash machines, those would be roughly $1.55 at 85,000 per Bitcoin right now. So just barely squeaking by. Whereas some of the newer machines that we have here with the miners getting like the 200 terahash machines and like the 230s, those are generating about 425 per day at 6, right? But a lot of these guys are like at 4.5 cents in electricity costs, and you can see that they're making $5.44 per day to like $6.79 per day after our electricity costs are included in that. So much more profitable there than where I think Cango is. So that's my concern there as well. Older machines, you're going to get them tired out faster as well. You have to change them out. Where they're going to get the money. The other part is that they're selling their, I think it's their auto loan business or something like that. They're divesting themselves of that business and going full blown, Bitcoin miners. But at least if they had their own sites, that might make them a little bit more attractive. If they had cost of electricity like at 4.5 cents or something like that, or even lower, if they could do that. Then, okay, yeah, these older machines could still operate for a little bit longer, for maybe another year or something like that. If not, maybe a little bit longer, depending where Bitcoin price goes, network hash rate, where all that stuff goes into it. All right, so there's that. So that kind of gives you at least an idea of what's going on here with Cango. All right, let's go back here. I talked about that one. Melvin says, actually Powell comment already priced in. Everyone predicted what he will say. So why market still being manipulated by his words? Well, I think it's him being hawkish, and I think a lot of investors are now thinking that one, we may not get the tax cuts in May, the interest rates cuts in May, and that's kind of spooking the market a little bit. But there's still unknowns with the tariffs and everything else. Let's see, November 2nd week, miners start mooning. Okay, 2nd week of November. So we got to wait until then. Question, so did Riot sell Bitfarms shares or not? They did not sell shares. It was just a recalculation of the percentage that they own there based on the fact that Bitfarms diluted, right, gave shares to Stronghold for the buyout there. All right. Let's see, 970 says, sold my Mara for a loss and bought Robinhood. I feel much better moving on. Okay. Yeah, Robinhood should do good. As long as Bitcoin stays where it's at. And they're also expanding their business. I saw a story today that they are Actually, was it commercial? I can't remember if it was a commercial or something like that. I saw where they're offering a desktop application now for trading as well, and they're getting to other things. So they got quite a few things happening that are good for them. Question is Applied Digital good buy at $4. I know it's come down here. They got kind of beat up here after they reported, I believe. At $4, yeah, I would think it would be a pretty good buy right now. I mean, everything's down so much. Let's take a look at Applied here really quick. I have it here someplace. Where do I have it? Under miners, I believe. AI. Applied. There it is. Applied. That was up 18% today, so it's come back a little bit from where it was yesterday. Here's the chart on it, right? It came down, the reported earnings. I think the earnings were a little bit of a disappointment there, but they still, yeah, surprise. 18% down. Reported 52 million, estimated was 64 million. I think that's why the stock was down based on that. So yeah, it probably reached a what, new 52-week low on it? No, not yet. Okay, so it's still low on it is 236. It's bouncing up here a little bit. I think that's actually a pretty good price to get in. Dollar cost average in if you can. Not financial advice as always, but it's definitely come down here. And they're working on their site, right? They're trying to build that out. And I think they're still waiting on to get a customer there for it as well. All right, so there's that one. Let's go back here. All right. Miner volume was very low today. Other than IREN, do you think they may be catching a bid with their increasing hash rate? Maybe. I think it's also they need to, get a customer there for their HPCI business. They do have some customers there. They're generating what is it now? About $2 million in revenue a month, roughly. But they just need to announce something. They've been talking about, hyperscalers emailing them, wanting to work with them on the Sweetwater site, I think it's called. The two sites that they have there. But we need something more concrete on that. But it's great. I love seeing them. I own a bunch of shares of IREN. I'm holding on to that one. All right. Michael says PFE on Pfizer being down to be oversold to 22. Crazy when people must take their medications each day, once to twice a day. Yeah, but again, tariffs, right? Trump has said that they're looking to possibly do something on the tariffs of the pharmaceuticals. Right. So you can't catch a break there with those guys. All right. Why so pessimistic? S&P tanked and BTC holding strong. This is great. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is holding up pretty good, all things considered. So, yeah, maybe I'm missing something. I don't think so. It's just, yeah, you make a good point there. All right, how much must BTC go before Mara operations value eclipses their HODL value, or will the HODL always overweigh the ops? I think with Mara, the tough part is for them, their still cost to mine is kind of high compared to some of their peers. So if they can bring that down, they still, they own 65% of their sites now, and 35% I believe is still hosted. So if they can swap that around, buy out those sites or something like that, and get them under their control, lower the cost there, that would be a good thing. They are working on flare gas projects. That's good. That should lower their costs there, and then also having the wind farm that they purchased and putting in some of the older machines into that as well should lower their costs. So they just got to lower the costs, I think. But yeah, they're definitely not being valued on their operations right now. Either that or they're not being valued on their HODL. They're just being valued on their operations right now. Okay. See, Michael says, I don't understand these miners or even drug sector selling off when Pfizer beat big on revenues and earnings, which raised the dividends to 43 cents and then raise 2025 outlook up with P at 15. Yeah, it's the market. It's the fear and uncertainty right now that's happening in the market because of tariffs. All right, let's see. I am down 40% from Cleanspark IREN and 50% Bitfarms. Do you think if I hold, I am able to take 50% profit from them? So worried now. That's a good question. What we're seeing here in the markets right now is not great. It's actually pretty bad. A lot of uncertainty also, so it's hard to say. I still think we're going to rally towards the end of the year here, and I think miners will do as well. A lot of people are still saying that Bitcoin's going to get to 150,000, 180, whatever, 200,000 by the end of the year potentially. We need certainty in the market though. Right now we don't have it, so until we get certainty, it's tough. And how long does that uncertainty last? I don't know. It's all up to one man right now. One man controlling pretty much the buy button on all these stocks, and that's Trump. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, but I still think we're going to probably rally towards the end of the year. Matt is here. Hey, Matt. Hey Seb, great job as always. More Congo talk tonight. Asset light Congo, and those older machines aren't being used in ways that allow them to profit, in my opinion. Yeah, we kind of looked at that a little bit as far as what their kind of profitability might be on those machines. So that's a tough one to cover. Like I said, I think if they had more assets of their own instead of being asset light, that would probably be better. But right now they just own a bunch of older ASIC machines. Not too happy about that. Let's see here. Buy more miners and PFE. All right, that says 6 cents seems to be the average cost per kilowatt hour. Yeah, for hosting and things like that, I've seen it as high as like 6.5 some places, depending where you go with. So that seems reasonable to me. I believe it as well. All right, Michael says the reason the sell-off because of NVIDIA news in the chip sector with news on a tech company like NVIDIA news, but hurt the whole market is insane. That could be it as well. All right. CB is asking a question there. All right, Gary's got a question here. Surprising numbers of people sure we won't have a bull run, but equally sure we will still have normal bear cycle. If the cycle is broken, isn't all bets off? Yeah, I mean pretty much. Yeah. But again, maybe I'm too optimistic. Maybe that's the reason I still think we're gonna have a rally here towards the end of the year. Maybe I'm just being too optimistic and get my butt kicked towards the end. We'll see. All right, is IREN the most undervalued based on growth? Let me see, what do we got? I don't have the data for today's price stock numbers or stock prices for these guys. So if we look at the, let's see here, where is it at? I want to look at enterprise metrics here. So this is as of, based on yesterday's data. Okay, so let's see, screenshot, here we go. This is where we're looking at. Future hash rate, IREN is at 24 million now. Based on where they are, futures based on 31 million per exahash, enterprise value per exahash. So yeah, they're pretty low. They're still not the lowest. They've definitely come down here recently. They were much higher in that range, but they're definitely out of the bigger guys like Cleanspark and Mar. They're the lowest out of these guys right now in valuation. Cleanspark's at 31 million, Marathon's at 52 million, not accounting for HODL or anything like that. And their enterprise metrics, I think we take out the HODL anyways, right? Yeah, minus HODL, so we take that out. All right, so yeah, I would say out of the big guys, they're definitely the most undervalued right now, based on what I'm seeing here. Okay, back to Q&A. Okay, Mortem says, sort of funny that the Trump sons got into mining when their dad, the crypto president, is causing it all to tank. Well, that way they can buy things at a much cheaper price possibly, right? And then pump it. Then they go to, their dad's ear and whisper in, time to pump. And maybe at that point they'll pump it. They're all looking out for themselves there. Pitt says, 82 people watching, only 22 likes. Come on, show some support for the hardworking Seb. I appreciate that, Pitt. Yeah, if you guys find any of this stuff useful, definitely would appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Question here, miners are more undervalued than MicroStrategy. Will they run more than MicroStrategy when the market finally moves? In the past, they have. There have been times also in the past where MicroStrategy kind of outran the miners, specifically in downturns on it. So it might. I'd love to see that again, because last time we saw Mara having 70x from the bottom. Riot was like 45, almost 50x from the bottom as well. Others were in the 30s, 17x range. So maybe we'll have to wait and see. But this cycle is different already as it is. Question from Don here. The fact none of the miners are buying back their own shares at these beaten down prices, are they expecting a bear market? I know I don't think that means anything. We have seen some miners being bought up by Bitfarms, I think, bought some shares. CORZ has bought some shares as well. I'm trying to think who else. There might be another company that has bought up some shares, but it's not much, right? It's not enough to move the needle on these things. Then yeah, I mean, why would you buy shares when you get shares? You get shares from the company anyways, right? For whatever metrics they use there. Let's see. Sartman says, hold, we should rally in 2028. Gosh, I don't want to hold another 3 years. All right. Is Cleanspark better buy versus Mara or IREN? Again, that's a tough one. I own Cleanspark a lot. I own a lot of shares of IREN as well, and I own some shares of Mara. but it's a tough one. As far as operations is concerned, I think Cleanspark and IREN are kind of tied as far as that is concerned. IREN has a little bit better cost to mine than Cleanspark, and then Mara is towards the last one there on those guys. Mara has a huge HODL position. It's not being valued properly right now for that or their operations, so it's tough. Tough to say which one is a better buy. I like all three of them really for different reasons, and they all have different philosophies really. Mara is all HODL and everything else. IREN is all sell. Cleanspark is more of a hybrid approach. Sell some at certain points, HODL more at different points. So it's like you're getting a mix of all different strategies here on these guys. Which company did Riot sell? Did they sell a company? I don't think they sold anything here recently. All right. Question: CORZ seems to be trading in tandem with CoreWeave. Is there concern about the coming revenue, or is market expecting a buyout? There's always a possibility that CoreWeave might want to buy them out. They have a lot of megawatts there with CORZ. That's possibly. They even offered to buy them out last year, and they offered them was it like 30% premium or something like that. I think something small, wasn't anything major. And CORZ denied it at that point. But there's always the option that they could come back to go and just we're going to buy you out, and we're going to save all that billions of dollars for ourselves, basically. Not sure. Right. Have you considered the possibility that because of heavily shorting, the miners won't ever reach their deserved valuation before the cycle is over? That's always a concern there, right? Do the shorts not relinquish their short on them? And the only, I don't know. We'll find out when we get through the cycle. Will the cycle end later on this year? Will we go into a bear market? I don't know. I'm thinking we might have an extended cycle. Time will tell. But things are still early right now. Question: IREN is the only profitable miner with a lower cost to mine a coin, at least 20,000 lower than second best miner. Why do you think market doesn't value this? No HODL, I think, is one reason. Them also not being U.S. based, but they are going to be U.S. based later on this year. So that should help a little bit there. The uncertainty right now around HPC AI, I think that's also having an impact on it. Because they do have, like 2 gigawatts of power that's going to be, right now set aside for HPC AI. But if they don't get anything out of that, they might go into Bitcoin mining some more. But that's kind of the reasons I can only think of right now. All right. Do you see the miners rallying anytime soon? We had a lot of price action in 2024, but nothing yet. Well, we need Bitcoin to go up. Bitcoin starts going up. We get some clarity with the tariffs. There's just a lot of unknowns. And if those things clear up, then I think we would rally. But right now, we're definitely trading sideways with Bitcoin. We're going down actually into correction. We still haven't gotten down too far. We're down 30% from the top, to the bottom recently, but it still might play out for another 2-3 weeks, and then we could rally. I don't know, but I'd definitely like to see them rally as well. All right. Pirate Cartman says gold is the warm-up act. Bitcoin is the main event. Yeah, gold has been. I think gold might have been outperforming Bitcoin here in at least the last probably 3-4 months or so. Gold has been going up, and Bitcoin has been coming down. All right, Don has a question here. Is Trump tariff as big as a deal as the China ban in 2021 that cut the BTC cycle short? It shouldn't be, because for the most part, the miners are not going to be affected by this, unless it's going to be affected on the ASICs coming in here from China. But even Bitmain has said that they're going to be opening production here in the United States to get away from the tariffs and provide better customer service there. So I don't think that has that much of an impact. The only thing that has an impact, the tariffs at least, have a much bigger impact on the overall global economy, which then if that brings things down, then the miners, I think, might suffer because of it as well, regardless of where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin could also stall at that point as well, and we could just trade sideways for a while. Hard to say right now. A lot of unknowns. I wish I knew. I'm sure you guys do too. Have some certainty in these markets, but we don't. So we're just going to keep an eye on things, see where they go, and try to do our best, I guess. But all right, that's all I got for you guys. Looks like we've cut up all the questions and everything else. Tomorrow we'll look at whatever else we can look at tomorrow. I may I'm thinking about maybe not. I'm gonna get an HPCI play for tomorrow. I gotta get some data on another company here, so I gotta do that, and we'll maybe talk about that, and then anything else that pops up as well. All right, so that is it. Greatly appreciate you guys for coming in as always. If you could hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Have a great night.